Sangye Chedam Chancho Balo Dani Yasuji Dagi Jinso Yimbe Sanagi Dola Benche Sangye Domajo Sangye Chedam Sangye Chonala Chancho Balo Dani Yasuji Dagi Jinso Yimbe Sanagi Dola Benche Sangye Domajo Sangye Chedam Sangye Chonala Chancho Balo Dani Yasuji Dagi Jinso Yimbe Sanagi Dola Benche Sangye Domajo Sangye Dewa Ramde
Good morning. As I have mentioned yesterday, regenerate bodhicitta is very important as we are Mahayana practitioner. We benefit all sentient beings by applying the Buddha Dhamma, the listening, contemplation, and meditation. With these three practices, we are able to benefit all sentient beings. The benefit means we benefit self first, then we benefit all sentient beings, bring them to the Buddhahood. But in order to bring them to Buddhahood, one must get ready to help all sentient beings. So, how to get ready to help sentient beings and apply Buddha Dhamma? By listening, by contemplation, and by meditation. Now, this is essence teaching from the Atisha. It's called the essential instruction of the Mahayana, transmitted from the Atisha, which is the root verses of the Bodhisattva, the Nobutuma, the jewelry rosary. They're just named. It's not so important because they are trying to entertain you. Because we need sometimes entertainment, right? Because when you read the textbook, sometimes the lectures, when you listen, so-called, or enlightenment in 1 week, then you run to that. You are so excited. But if somebody say, oh, general teaching, then you say, maybe very boring. So Atisha knows your weakness. So therefore, he tried to entertain you, to bring you to in this teaching. So it's called the jewelry rosary, which is very expensive. Jagarkedo, Bodhisattva mani awali, Bekedo, Shangshu Semba Nurutama, Tuji Chambula Chatsalo. Supplicate to Tuji Chambula Chatsalo means we supplicate to the Lord of compassion, the great compassion. And then next one is the Lama Nama Chatsalo. Then supplicate to the masters or the great gurus. The next one is the Tebetala Chatsalo. So supplicate to the deities, the wisdom deities. The wisdom deities, that is, the Tebetha means wisdom deities, that each and every individual has their own deities, wisdom deities. Give me an example like, if I do practice Vaitara, then Vaitara is the object to supplicate. If somebody does practice of Avalokiteshvara, and Avalokiteshvara is the object of the supplication. But in the space of the Dhammadhatu, all deities, all gurus, and all Dhamma protectors are inseparable. So when you do practice like Yidam practice, you do all kinds of Yidam practice, green Tara, white Tara, and 4-arm Jerese, 1,000-arm Jerese. There are so many practices, so you get confused. Sometimes you may not be able to do all these, although you want it. You want to do all practices. You see this one, oh, so nice, I want to do this one. And then you see next one, oh, wrathful, I want to do that one. So you really want to do all kinds of practices, you Dhamma protectors, but cannot finish, and we cannot do all of them. So all in one is important. You should have this knowledge, and we should have the wisdom to realize our Avalokiteshvara is all in one. Vaitara is the all in one. No need to do individually, one by one. Very difficult. Although you do that, there's not much really success. Tired, time-wise, and you're exhausted. You are forcing yourself to do practice, to recite mantra. You keep all kinds of mantra, green, blue, red, the white for the white Tara, green for green Tara, the black for Mahakala, dark blue for the 6-armed Mahakala. So this is quite troublesome in the practice. So practical way of practicing all in one is the best. Therefore, Tebetala Chatsalo. Then the Lama Nama Chatsalo. Lama means the great master, the guru. And the Lama here refers to the masters who has gained fully experience of the compassion and the loving kindness and the wisdom. And themselves did practice very well and achieved that practice. And achievement of that practice is now sharing with all sentient beings, and giving us the direction, and giving us the path, and giving us the instruction clearly, which one is right, which one is wrong, which one is need to be adopted, and which one is need to be abandoned. Clearly given the path and the direction. So that sort of the individuals or the beings called the Lama, which is the Guru or Great Master. Tukji Chambula Chatsalo, that means the great compassion. Tukji means compassion, Chenpo means great. The great compassion is the source of the enlightenment. When we talk about the great compassion, so great compassion is the essence practiced in the Lojong, in Kadamba tradition. Like 7-point of mind training is the essence of the practice in 7-point mind training is exchanging, giving and taking. Giving and taking is the essence of practice of the Lojong. So without compassion, great compassion, one cannot practice the Mahayana view, Mahayana meditation, and the Mahayana conduct. all this view, conduct, meditation, very much based on this great compassion. Not only compassion, but very great compassion. Okay, now the root verses. Tetsum tamchi pangcha sing, rula nending jesu cha, ni muk lelo rabang sing, tadu zunjun levar cha. Okay, now Tetsum tamchi pangcha sing. Tetsum means like feeling of uncertainty or doubt. And there's a lot of resistance in our practice. You want to do practice, but at the same time there are a lot of doubts. So this disturbs you to get into the practice. So in the Kadampa tradition, or those great masters in the past, they are very determined, very decisive getting into the practice, because they know that samsara has no more happiness. And myself, as a practitioner, I'm not looking for the miseries, the pains, the suffering, not at all. I want to get rid of these miseries and the pain and the suffering. So there's only one option, which is get into or enter into the Dhamma practice. So you have to have a full of wisdom, realizing which one is right, which one is wrong. What is a samsara? What is a nirvana? And you knowing those different notions, and you become very determined and very decisive. During practice, you have to be very decisive and very determined. If you feel always like weak, mentally very weak, want to do that, but you are at the same time very scared. And you want to go to retreat, but at the same time you're scared. 1 week, oh, too long. 1 month, oh, too long. 1 year, forget about that. So that is sort of, you have a, what called the weakness mentally, not really prepared well, Even 1 hour meditation, you are not so well prepared. But here it says, abandon that kind of undecisive, the mental attitude. Be determined, be very decisive, get into the practice. Feeling of uncertainty or the doubt disturbs us, delaying our practice, always a delaying. Therefore, our life is very uncertain, and we would not know when death will come. So when death comes, if you prepare to do Dhamma practice, it's not the right time, it's the wrong time. So right time is now, when you are healthy, that you are able to do the Dhamma practice physically, mentally, it's available, everything is available with you, and so take the chance and do practice. Undecisive notion is the biggest the obstacle for the Dhamma practitioner. So if you delay Dhamma practice, then you will never be achieved the great happiness in this life. And you are still hoping maybe next life, but that's also very uncertain. So make it useful or meaningful of this life with the determination, full of determination. One should get into the Dhamma practice. So that's why here Atisha says, Tetsum tampi pangcha sing. And actually the doubt is once disturbed by doubt or the feeling of uncertainty, then the next practice also, if you want to do that practice, but then there is another doubt and the feeling of uncertainty will arise. And then that is the biggest disturbance for you, because you are unable to enter that practice. And now next, some practices that may you like it or like to do, but another, the doubt or feeling of uncertainty arise, and that disturbs you. So it affects all the time, so that this will never let you get out of this feeling of uncertainty. So it's we call the negative, the tendency. It's always there. So therefore, you should cut immediately when it comes, like doubt or feeling of uncertainty. And you be very determined, say that because of the Guru, because of my precious human life, and because of my wisdom, I can do it. I can do practice. I can do retreat. I can do all the practices, the generating compassion, loving kindness, and the wisdom. I can follow the great masters, and I can follow their instructions. I will do now. So that kind of a determination that helps you to overcome these unnecessary, the feeling of uncertainty. Drupla Nenten Jesocha, the second verse. Drupla means the practice. Drup means practice. And the Nenten means with the diligence. Jesocha, Je means like joyfully. Practice joyfully, willingly. From the beginningless of the samsara. And we wander in this cyclic existence. And gone through all kinds of pain and suffering, which we don't want. And all this pain and suffering is unwanted circumstances and unfavorable circumstances. Definitely we don't want them at all, but no choice now, because lack of diligence, lack of wisdom, and a lack of application. We read, we listen, but we rarely apply this, or we rarely actualize to what we have heard and what we have seen or what we have read the book. But problem is the application. When you are, as I said yesterday, our biggest problem is when you do session inside the room, or inside the cave, or inside the retreat center, and you feel that, oh, I'm doing quite okay. Because of course you are doing quite okay. There's no disturbance around you. And there's no taste. And we need to taste, is it? When you eat a good food, how could you prove this is good food? You eat and then you say, yes, it's good food. It's delicious. When you look at the food, you can't say, oh, this is a delicious food. I don't think so. I would not believe that unless you really taste. So therefore your taste means everyday life. We have all kinds of objects, good, bad, the pleasant, unpleasant. And then you should examine our emotion. How does it arise? How does it work with your emotion? How does it work with these objects? Then you will know, did I really apply Dhamma accordingly or not? All sorts of objects around you and are all object of your practice and your the examination and your training of mind. So therefore, Kadamba is very direct teaching. Say that, test yourself. See how. Does it really work or not? Not simply count the mala, sit in the sun, have a cup of tea, and recite some very beautiful mantras. And so that is not really enough in the Kadamba tradition. This is a very strict and a very direct teaching which is striking your heart and your emotion. And make sure practice really is working with my emotion. And make sure that you gain experience from the practice. I don't want to waste my time. I want to really make sure that practice is really going very well with me. So that sort of determination we have to have in the practice. Therefore, Drupla Nenten Jesuja. ni muk lelo rapang sing tatu chundum debarcha. Sleep is no good. Of course, it's good for health, but too much sleep no good. Therefore, ni muk, slow moving, dullness, right? Muk. And the lelo means the laziness. These three disturbs our practice. So, real practitioners, they sleep short period of time. Many people say you have to have sleep 8 hours. Otherwise, your health gets something wrong. But I don't believe so, because those great masters who does not sleep at all, but they are very healthy. So far they are healthy. So it does not mean that you don't sleep. Of course you can sleep, but sleep short and do more practice. Because we have been enough sleep, and from the beginning of the time till now, we really enjoy with the sleep. Sleep in the morning. There's another so-called nap after the lunch. It's very important, nap. And the evening also said rest, sleep, a little bit on chair, about 5 to 10 minutes. So we are really enough enjoyed with the sleep. So, but Kadamba not so keen about these ideas, because this will delay and the delay and the delay of practice. Then the wasting of precious human life, which is very rare to be obtained in the future. So that rare, precious human life is already obtained and already achieved. Now the responsibility is to make use for this precious human life through abandoning these so-called like sleeping and the slow moving or dullness or the laziness. So we have to be fresh. We have to be fresh in the morning, fresh in the afternoon, fresh in the evening. If you think of the pain and the suffering of the samsara, I'm quite sure we all be fresh always. Yes. But why we are not so fresh? Because we didn't experience much about the pain and the suffering, and we don't really care so much about that. So therefore, we are still enjoying with the sleep and the laziness. As I said yesterday, the Kadamba master says,